Hope you guys are doing okay. Let me get my microphone over here so you can hear me a little better. Hey, here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about finding the inverse of a function. Last time we talked about what inverse functions were, how to determine if two functions were actually inverse of each other. The big idea was this. Let's say if we had a function f of x, and if the input was a and the output was b, well then its inverse function, that means inverse function, the input and output are swapped. Do you see? You see how they get switched? That's the big idea. So now I'm going to show you how to find an inverse function. So let's say we had this. Let's say we had I don't know, 2x plus 7. Let's say that's our function. We wanted to find its inverse. Well, first of all, this is the input, and this whole thing right here is our output, right? This whole thing is our output. That's our input. So the idea is if we're going to find the inverse, these two things switch. So what you're going to do is, you know how this is actually y, f of x is the same as y? Well, we're going to write it as y. What we're going to do is we're going to switch those. Normally, I wouldn't write this step right here. I'd just go ahead and write. Do you see? These two things here are the same, right? Those are the same. But these two, not the same. And it's a big deal. Because normally in algebra, what we're doing is we're manipulating things, but they're always saying the same. But we're actually finding a different function. The idea is the input and the output are swapped when you're talking about an inverse function. So this is how we're going to find our inverse function. So now all we got to do is solve for y. So x minus 7 equals 2y. Divide both sides by 2. That's our inverse function. So x minus 7 divided by 2. Now, of course, we could plug one into the other. See if it's equal to x, do it the other way. Make sure it's also equal to x the other way to verify. But for this video, we're not going to talk about that because we just did that in the previous one. But yeah, there you go. That's how you do it. So you swap the x and the y. Let's see another example. Let's say that we had g of x was equal to, oh boy, let's say x cubed minus, no, plus 8. Let's say that was it. And let's say we wanted to find the inverse of that. Well, here's what you do. To find the inverse, you know how this is y and that's x? So we're going to switch them. X equals y cubed plus 8. You see, we swap the input and the output, the letters, not the things that are going with it, not an exponent, not a coefficient, just like this. Now we have to solve for y. So using our inverse operations, we subtract first. Then we're going to do the cube root of both sides. Do you see? So we're going to get the cube root of x minus 8 equals y. So our inverse would be the cube root x minus 8. That's it right there. Pretty short and easy. Doesn't mean it's always easy to do, but the idea is pretty straightforward. All you got to do, swap the x and the y, the input and the output, solve for the new y, rewrite it, boom, you're done. I hope this has been helpful. Man, you guys are killing it.